Welcome back to Barcelona. I'm James Stress O'Leary, and I've had to swap in with Pyrotechnics because somebody needed to be between these two because we are about to go.
There's too much chemistry.
The
Had to break it up somehow.
North American LCS, LPL. You know, somebody has to be in the middle of these two.
I like how you went straight to love, though. I mean, it's supposed to be a grudge match between the regions, but no. It's all about just the love we share, Jet, and I like that. I like that a lot more because NALCS team looks a little bit stronger than the LPL at the moment.
Well, really?
Let's take
after the LMS game.
Okay, maybe a different story. However,
both of you, calm down, both of you. We need to go through this the right way. Let's look at the rosters first before you guys get out of the gates. First of all, representing Team Fire, it's the North American LCS All-Stars. In the top lane, it's Impact. In the jungle is Reignover. Mid lane is Bjergsen. AD carry is Doublelift, and beside him is Afromoon.
And their opponents representing Team Ice from the LPL, it is going to be in the top lane, Mouse, the man who came back from being awful in the early game in that Assassin mode game, so is here to stay. Jungle is going to be ClearLove, Wayless in the mid lane, and it's Uzi and Mata from RNG in that bottom lane, who looked spectacular in the 1v1s. And if you're talking about bottom heavy, I think the LPL is certainly it.
That certainly is for sure, and it's such an important game as well because both sides of these, 100 points are on the line, and both teams need it. It's dead even right now.
Yeah, it really is the swing match because NA did get beaten by the LMS yesterday. We've already seen, you know, it's pretty much the last straight-up region v region clash until we get into the mixed teams tomorrow. So really important for NA to win this team if they want Fire to win, and the same for the LPL if they want Ice to win.
And Jed, I know you're chomping at the bit to talk about the LPL bot lanes. They've been instrumental in a lot of their games. When you look at how many people have been down in that bottom lane, your thoughts coming into this against Afromoon and Doublelift?
Yeah, I mean, Doublelift and Afromoon, I heard Doublelift talking a little bit earlier, and he's basically saying if we don't feed bottom lane, I think we'll win. So he's actually a little bit worried against Uzi and Mata once again, and who wouldn't be, especially after the way Worlds ended for Doublelift in TSM, where Uzi got a very early triple kill as they were picking themselves into a bad matchup, thinking they'd be able to stand. No way. So I expect them to try and pick, like, maybe something super tryhard, like Caitlyn Nami or something, to say, we are not going to lose this lane, but you never know.
Even in their win, though, against Europe, the bottom lane still looked suspect for the North American LCS All-Stars. So there is still a question there. Now you've got to go up against, as you said, Uzi and Mata. I mean,
no. They're not going up against Uzi and Mata. They're going up against Uzi, Mata, ClearLove, and Wayless. Because it was a four-man party for the LPL on the bottom side of the map. And we'll see whether it's going to happen again, because you're exactly right. I feel like they just don't feed, and by not feeding, they just try not to die to the cavalcade of humans on the bottom side of the map. But let's hop into Champion Select. NALCS are going to be on our red side, and the LPL representing Team Ice going to be on the purple side. Oh, well, blue side. Just confusing when it's fire and ice, guys.
It is, but you know, one thing that's going to be less confusing, there's going to be a heavy presence towards mid lane. We've seen it in every single game, and now there have been questions about Bjergsen in the last couple of games. He's been looking a little, you know, on the back foot compared to what we've seen him in the regular split and, you know, in other international competitions. So he's got to deal with Wayless, who has been looking better
from the last game.
He lost the 1v1 against ClearLove as well. And if we're talking about people that were underperforming, and I love jumping to conclusions in best of one as well,
please.
But Reignover has looked awful in the jungle. His two tank Rengar games, when everyone else who wants to have fun is building damage Rengar because
is the one that
better.
was having fun building damage Rengar.
Yeah, he actually did that against the GPL All-Stars. So we'll see what they end up doing. I'm hoping to see something different from Reignover if I want Fire to win.
Well, you do.
If I want Fire to win. This is a non-biased professional cast Atlas.
Oh, yes, sorry, chat. So I forgot about that. I don't know how I did. Just ridiculous. But Poppies are going to be the first bands here from the NALCS. And like you were saying, Stress, a couple of mid-lane bands coming through for the LPL. Syndra still lurking as far as that champion that probably wants to be snapped up relatively early. Eve is going to be the final ban, so ClearLove gets some respect.
Yes, some respect given over now. We're in a situation where Syndra, Lee Sin, both available. Both have been highly banned out this tournament. The Nautilus is there for first rotation should either team want it. And, you know, we've seen Impact play a lot of the Poppy, haven't seen him really too much on the Nautilus, so I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes on a first rotation.
Exactly. He's only played Poppy in the 2 games he's played. Nautilus also a pretty good flex. Expected to see the Syndra band, otherwise I think that would have been the first pick. But Nautilus would make the most sense if they want to pick a strong top laner who don't need no jungle ganks. But works very well with them, by the way. The best gank assist in the game.
Now, at this point, do we think Mao's just kind of goes to Maokai and is like, okay, you're going to have to give me that? Or do we think that...
for the redemption. Because it's once again Mouse versus Impact.
That's true. I don't think he wants that 1v1 at all up in the top lane. Probably going to be calling ClearLove up his side, but we know how Uzi and Mata demand a lot of presence. Not a lot of bot lane presence in the draft so far, though.
Yeah, definitely not. And I don't even know... Even though Mouse could trend towards Maokai, there's no need to pick it right now. It really depends how much they feel like the power picks are still on the board. Karma, a decently lane-dominant champ. Although, if they were locking this in, which they do, Aphromoo mentioned that, oh, turns out Sona beats Karma in lane when he played against Albus yesterday. So we could see a return of Aphromoo Sona as well later in the draft. Don't think they'd pick it right away.
And of course, with that takeaway of the Orianna, it's locking the Karma into the bottom lane, so there's no flex picking in this game. The takeaway I like as well, getting Wayless, or at least Bjergsen off that Orianna, that was the Rengar combination that really punished Europe in the bot lane roams, so I like this takeaway.
I want to say as well that this is Wayless's Orianna. This is a guy that's been playing this champion for an incredibly long time, has really interesting build paths as well, like the Leandri's Torment relatively early when he was playing it in the LPL. This guy more than happy to play it at any time. But this is one thing I wanted to talk about as we hop back to the side of the NALCS. Is Bjergsen's Katarina's not banned this time.
Yep. Didn't
win in the Assassin mode game, but now gets an opportunity for redemption if he'd like it. Won't though.
He
just
does
gonna
not
hop
like
straight
it.
onto the Cassiopeia, and there's going to be the Rek'Sai picked up for Rainover.
And this is one thing that I really like, is the fact that, you know, the NALCS squad aren't just going, okay, all about the early game, we've got to get a cat and snowball. They want to get something for later in the game just in case, because we know that historically that kind of has been a problem when facing LPL teams, is their early game tends to be incredibly strong, and if you kind of fall behind on a snowballing champion like Cat, good luck ever catching up.
Absolutely. Cassiopeia just generally strong. Bjergsen obviously very good at that, but seeing it against Wayless' Orianna is going to be pretty exciting. You're hoping that we'd see the vein out of Uzi, but Uzi also wants to win lane. This is
even more old school
smart pick
Uzi as well, picking up the Caitlyn. It was always one of the champions that he was most feared for. And the Rengar as well. I like it a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say you just pick Caitlyn to win lane, but when you're as good as Uzi on Caitlyn, you just demolish lane is the thing, because he can harass you on every CS, and he generally does. So it's not just about being able to farm safely, but just being able to heavily deny the enemy AD carry farm.
Not to mention just the power of a Karma Caitlyn lane. I mean, that is super oppressive, what with all of the harassment, all of the high potential as well from the slows that are coming through from that champion. Yeah,
they could do Twitch if they wanted to kind of sacrifice the lane, but still have the really strong team fight afterwards. Rengar, AD Rengar against Twitch, not the funnest, but it could work.
I mean, also, you're talking about sacrificing the lane. Are there many lanes that we really feel like Doublelift and Aphromoo are going to be able to go like, okay, against Uzi's Caitlyn, against the Karma,
let's lane bully this.
Yeah, let's lane bully this lane. The only thing that I feel could be like more annoying would be like the old school Ezreal Sona lane, you know, where you just insta-kill someone level 6.
And sit all the way back, potentially. And sitting all the way back is not Ezreal.
Seem bad.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Bad at all.
Jhin is the #1 pick against Caitlyn as far as people who want to pick an AD carry against it, and then Sona can also be considered one of the best ones against this. If they flex, this would be super troll and awesome, but they're most likely not going to, because they still have to pick their top laner.
Yeah, well, once again, a flex if he's hovering that Jace. Has played that in the support position in the past. Oh my goodness,
Doublelift is going to be in a bit of trouble with this Rengar, though. Jhin, as soon as he locks himself in his ultimate...
Oh, gosh.
Oh, and now there's more dive.
The Super Bowl delivery squad, I think you call this, from ClearLove and Mouse.
Yeah. If they get a combo that's good, everyone will die. That's the problem. So NA needs to make sure they're spreading out and staying as safe as possible.
But when I look at the NA squad kind of in a vacuum and don't really look at their opponents, I'm quite liking this champion select for a few different things. The Nautilus very strong in the top lane. Rek'Sai still has a lot of presence with Courage of the Colossus as well. And we've got Bjergsen on Cassiopeia. Normally that's a good sign. Normally that goes a long way, but still, there's positives on both sides of this draft.
Yeah, and I do actually have to point out, I've been paying a lot of attention to the NA player cams in all 3 of their drafts, and I don't think it's a coincidence that Doublelift has been talking the most and also gotten to pick his AD carry in the last rotation in every draft. So he's basically just, please pick me into a good matchup. But in this one, I think it's going to be a pretty interesting lane because the Caitlyn Karma is one of the strongest lanes you can do. But technically, as close as they could come to a counter pick, they tried to do so.
Yeah, and look, if you're talking about Uzi being, Doublelift being a massive carry, Uzi most certainly is as well. Now has a double shield composition to try and keep him healthy, what with also having that Vengeful Maelstrom coming out of the Maokai, if Mouse is going to be sitting back and getting that done. But, ladies and gentlemen, we want you to hop onto Twitter, use that tweet at LOL Esports, use the hashtag FireWin if you think that NALCS is going to be able to take this one, or the hashtag IceWin if you think that LPL can take this one down for our final match of the night. Remember, this is for the 100 points to get either Fire or Ice out of this tie that we currently have. It is all on the line moving into day number 4 tomorrow.
And the question we've got on our minds now as we head into the Rift,
Chris?
How is Mata taking this game? Is it going to be the Mata in the regional game yesterday that was landing hooks, beautiful combos, or the Mata that ran into tower level 1?
That's what makes him the most dangerous player on the planet.
Yeah,
you never know. He's dangerous for both teams. He's like, he's much like, it's interesting
Who's
that
he
he
playing
is playing
for today, chat?
It's great that he's playing Yasuo so much in 1v1s as well, because it's really like having a Yasuo on your team in solo queue.
Exactly
you
right.
never really know.
Oh, I never thought of it that way. Kind of hurts a little bit.
So we saw one of these plays yesterday pay off, where you get into the tri-bush early, make sure you have the vision control, and then as they sneak forward in the lane, you cut in behind them and catch them out. So we'll see if that happens again.
Aphromoo using his toggle button. I like it. Remember, we were talking about, you know, the extra support that Uzi will have in this game. What with all the movement speed and the shields that you're going to pick up from Mata. I do like having a Sona there as well, Song of Celerity. Underrated ability is Doublelift. Yeah, there it is.
Basically won the game already.
Oh, good. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And here's kind of the theory behind the Sona v Karma. If you're looking at the duo lanes in a totally simplistic fashion, it's like the poke ranged 80 carries beat the tank 80 carries, but the sustain 80 carries should beat the poke 80 carries, and therefore the tank 80 carries should beat the sustain. But the reason that Karma... So it's just like a rock, paper, scissors type thing. Yep. But the reason Karma was so dominant in NA throughout most of the regular season is people were thinking that her burst was high enough that she could all in the sustain 80 carries and therefore win every matchup. And sometimes that's true with the Caitlyn because you're always able to reach, but at least when Albus played it against Aphromoo, he was showing that that's not necessarily the case. So as long as they're not taking too much poke, they should hopefully be able to avoid the all-ins and out-sustain the Karma and Caitlyn.
And we need to keep focused on the bottom lane as well, because from the tri-bush ward that the LPL squad put down, they recognized Doublelift and Aphromoo came to the lane later, indicating they were helping Rainover on red to come bottom through Krugs and look for a gank. That was pinged out. The ward has gone down afterwards, so Rainover clearly kind of doesn't feel confident going for that early level 3 gank we've heard so much about, but he has just pinged on his way from a different way into the lane. Maybe they have that idea that it was warded.
Kind of the delayed level 3 gank. You're expecting the early 2-minute, 20-second cheese, but you don't quite get that.
It's going mid.
Yeah.
Dangerous as Uzi does so much damage to Doublelift. Doesn't use the heal just yet as Wayless gets himself out, uses the ghost, but not the flash.
Just keeps himself safe, but Clearlove on the same path heading topside for impact. Look how low Mouse is, though.
Yeah, Mouse is in trouble, but Clearlove is here. Flashes forward, has the red buff as well, so can slow him down. Will the dredge line come off cooldown as Impact? Oh, first blood goes down, and it is going to be Clearlove that grabs it.
Yeah, and honestly, pretty disrespectful by Impact there to be pushed up at that stage of the game. Yes, the level 3 gank didn't come directly, but until you see that level 3 jungler for the first time, depending on your side of the map, the duo lane for Ice shouldn't have been pushed up. They actually technically should have died for that because Rainover should have ganked bottom off that path since they were pushed up so far. Impact was pushed up the same way. Clearlove actually punished it, got the kill.
Doublelift takes a lot of
damage. Uzi misses the combo.
Yeah, now they exhaust.
Cute little exhaust comes out as Mata tries to get the damage down. Good block there from Aphromoo as Doublelift taking so much damage. The autos from Uzi seem to come from such a long range when you're against a Jhin.
Yep, always max range on Caitlyn, and that's some of the things that the best Caitlyn's can do is just make sure that they're kind of pole-arming you and never trading, but instead just getting damage off for free.
Perfect adjective for that. I never thought of it. Pole-arming? Yeah, good. Stunning. Peacemaker is going to land on Doublelift. Not looking all that peaceful at all, to be perfectly honest.
Doesn't have heal, so really
this
a tickle would kill him.
Especially now that they can kind of assume Clearlove is bottom side of the jungle, they don't have wards to spot him either. So this is fairly risky, but with Rainover bottom side, they should be able to get that. Oh, Aphromoo is dropping so low off this.
Yeah. If Rainover goes in, he has to 1v2 because Doublelift and Aphromoo can't approach.
especially not without that heal you were talking about. Like, maybe if they had that, they would think they could just about balance it, but it's still, look at the health difference already. If they even tried to trade, that would almost be suicidal.
It's gone from a gank to, well, I guess I'll be the one to pick up this experience underneath the turret. Aphromoo going to join him as well as Doublelift goes back, grabs himself a cull. Just feels like conceding this lane at the moment, but that's what we were talking about. I mean, this isn't actually all that bad. If they don't die, it's probably fine. Allow Bjergsen, allow Impact, try and get advantages if they can. But if we have a look at those lanes, it's very, very even. Apart from that top lane, after that first kill, Mouse able to get himself ahead by that 10 CS.
Yeah, LPL technically winning these 2 lanes in the top and the bottom lane, not by a huge margin, but it could definitely get a lot worse if the bottom lane trends the way it has been trending. 300 gold, not a huge deal, but Cull versus Pickaxe really speaks to Doublelift only wanting to sustain that lane with Aphromoo and Uzi and Mata just able to keep the pressure. And this type of thing can snowball very easily if you're able to get the kills after you've gotten the large lead, get the first turret, and so on.
Yeah, and a big one as well is that Clearlove has managed to make it about 600 gold in the lead over Reignover as well with that first successful gank. So this Rengar will be a problem. Now looking towards that mid lane to see what he can get done. In fact, relatively low on mana, but he's doing fine here up towards the top side of the map.
Both supports have drifted up as well towards this mid lane. You can see them kind of backing and forthing over the wards in the river. Mata's going to take himself that fruit. I would argue that Aphromoo securing a little bit of vision for himself may go a little bit longer. They now realize where Mata was. Aphromoo doesn't get caught out in the bush by any kind of cheeky play around that tri-bush as they get back into lane, but still they maintain the CS lead for Uzi in that bottom side. And now we see these trades. When you talk about that pickaxe into the cull, Doublelift, they've got to play careful around this, because as you were talking about, Uzi at max range is just punishing him every single time he's trying to come forward to last hit.
Yeah, and this really hurts Reignover as well, getting the entire quadrant of his jungle stolen by Clearlove. There's not really much he can do to get back at that with the longer respawns on jungle time. Like something about this season, counter jungling much more rewarding if you're able to pull it off. Gotta go straight for a gank. Surprising, the Mouse was still around.
Yeah, well, there's the depth charge. Mouse claps his hands, but that's going to spell game over, you'd expect. There's the flash, arcade smash as well, and he makes it out alive.
Yeah, surprising he's still around, but he's still Maokai.
Yeah.
Double Doran's Health Crystal, one of the best builds you can go early, absorbing the gank against the Nautilus Rek'Sai, who hadn't shopped, so not much damage actually coming through. He unfortunately had to burn his flash because he should have just backed away after seeing Reignover, knowing he'd been counter jungling. The only thing he can do is go gank, but he still gets away without a huge punishment.
Clearlove right now, though, from the time in the jungle that he spent, is almost a whole level above Reignover in experience. And since he's now past that level 6 mark, Clearlove has the opportunity. Earlier, we saw Aphromoo and Doublelift pushing up fairly heavily in the bottom lane. You can see Clearlove just hanging around the back of mid lane as well, looking to try and perhaps get in onto Bjergsen. A little tricky to go forwards if the Cassiopeia kind of knows you're coming, so we'll see how Clearlove and Wayless can utilize this Shockwave combo with the Rengar. We saw NA use it to great effect on day one against Europe.
They used it to great effect once, and then the other times it was just Reignover running away. But I agree with you, it has a ton of potential to work, especially on the damage Rengar as well. Even if you get a little bit of tankiness, the 80 Rengar plus the 2 or 3 item Orianna later in the game, it's a clean one shot.
It's disgusting when that starts hitting. And when you kind of have that moment where Clearlove's no longer the ball delivery and it's all about Mao's kind of going in, that's also just a very dangerous setup. So the LPL squad have this huge wombo combo setup if they can get it a little bit later.
Yeah, really nice disengage as well with all the extra movement speed that they have, what with the Inspire and with the Command Dissonance as well. Just very flexible in this composition, but they do need to get there, and they do need to play well from the mid game to the late game, because we saw against the LCK, it's a different story. After what was a very promising first 5 minutes, things went wrong.
Oh, nice one!
Made it 8 minutes in, as Mata has to flash. Reignover doesn't get the knock-up, and no deadly flourish to be found from Doublelift.
Good reaction time out of Mata there. As soon as Reignover was spotted, as soon as he knew he was there, flashes right over the wall. Couldn't be it.
It was a really clever move by Reignover because they'd pinged on the control ward, and those are the greatest baits to try and catch someone going to clear it. Reignover taking the plant over the Drake wall and then immediately tunneling in afterwards.
Afro's not quite 6 yet. He can't deny this Rengar if he jumps on him.
Oh dear, there he is as Clearlove jumps through. Good flash from Aphromoo and gets out of the way of the bowler strike, but Doublelift does have to use the heal. Successful gank from Clearlove.
Just the Rengar damage did 70% of his health without anyone else around.
In the mid lane, there's the flash knock-up from Reignover. Oh, doesn't actually find the stun, but Bjergsen has enough damage. That's going to do it for Reignover.
Yeah, love that gank from Cassiopeia, just throwing down the W as a gank.
They love again, though.
Oh my goodness, Afromoon's in a rough spot. The flash is nice, but Clearlove taking a lot of damage. Oh my goodness, there's a Peacemaker, and Uzi grabs himself the kill. Mouse with a bit of a delayed teleport, but to answer, Impact who gets stunned up underneath the tower. So much damage there. Rainover eventually turns up. Good shield from Mata, but he should fall down. Double lift grabs Clearlove. Can they clean this fight up? As everyone's getting back underneath the turret, Miasma goes over to the top, and Uzi says, where did my friends go? I'm gonna die to the turret because I want it on my own terms.
That's exactly what NA needed to happen. This gives Doublelift 2 kills. Uzi only picked up 1, and they're able to get pretty much everything back. While yes, the initial dive was successful, when they teleport in, because Wayless was off the map, having been killed early, Ice can't actually match the numbers, not to mention they can't retreat. So they're stuck in this murky middle ground where they're hoping to close in onto Doublelift, but they can't because he's staying out of Twisted Advance range. So he just gets to free hit this entire time, and everyone was trying to focus Impact, which just wasn't happening.
And it all stems, as you were talking about, an overextension in the bottom lane, but first of all, an overextension by Wayless in mid. He thought with double summoners up, he would be okay, but he pushed the wave, didn't have a read on where Rainover was, and it punishes the LPL squad way harder than just that one kill in the middle lane would have.
Yeah, and that's the trickiest thing we were talking about laning against Cassiopeia. Even though you have Flash, it doesn't mean it'll help you in a game because of the grounded effect of the Miasma.
Well, I do want to remind you of what I just said about LPL versus LCK. I mean, it may have taken about 9 minutes this time around, but things have certainly gone back in the favor of NA. We do now have a slight gold advantage by about 800, but what's really important is the fact that Doublelift has clawed back what was a massive deficit on the bottom side of the map. Still a lot of pressure here from Team Ice, but NA feeling a whole lot better after those kills have been picked up because 2-0-2 now on the Jhin. He's going to be pretty comfortable, just needs to sit back.
It's a good spot to be in, and for Doublelift, you know, it's going to revolve around these skirmishes early on. We've already kind of recognized that it's very difficult for Jhin to push back Uzi and Mata as they're pushing down on that bottom tower. So he has to kind of find those safe spots that we were talking about. Bjergsen has Wayless caught potentially again.
Yeah, has to flash himself over the wall. Oh, there's the shockwave onto Rainover as Clearlove.
Hoping a combo.
Yep. Couldn't quite find it. And of course, no shockwave for the Kitty Cat.
Yeah.
Clearlove just launches his way out of the brush.
Alt burn, so that diminishes a lot of pressure, unfortunately, for Ice.
The lumbering Nautilus, not going to quite find too much. Big Daddy, go back towards the top side of the map.
Uzi didn't quite get the traps off completely.
Yeah. Still, though, trying to get as much control as possible in this bottom side. What's interesting is that control ward has lasted for so long in the tri-brush, and that's what's basically keeping the turret alive, is the fact that that control ward exists. Because there's these large minion waves that they're able to push to the turret, but then they're not willing to actually get the turret harass off because they don't have control of the tri-brush, which will tell them when the gank will be coming.
Oh, speaking of ganks coming, a couple of seconds away perhaps. Look at Rainover's pathing, Bjergsen coming down, but he is spotted on a ward, so look at how much respect this time Uzi and Mata give over to the NALCS. They say, okay, we see you coming a mile off, we're going to take a full step back in lane so that we don't get caught. So, you know, one of those pivotal moments where the Rift Scuttler vision without that ward perhaps could have been a different story, but the respect now being given after being punished before.
That was nicely done, especially with Clearlove on the top side of the map, was taking his red buff there as well. Now, Rift Scuttler is going to go down for the Rengar. Now looking potentially at Impact, who's at about half health. The Wet Noodle fight is certainly on, to utilize that overused term, however, very relevant in this case.
The no ultimate walk into lane gank while the enemy takes the Drake. An underutilized move, one would say.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
Not very effective right there.
We'll see how it pays off.
The other team got Drake.
Damn it. Here I would have thought that it would have been great.
He's just used to playing Evelyn, okay? He's like, I can just get all the way into lane. I don't need any ultimates or anything. But
with the delayed effectiveness of this gank, no, it's still not working.
Well, might spell some damage on the turret, chat. Come on, stay positive. I thought you were unbiased, buddy.
That was still quite optimistic with the delayed effectiveness looking for it. Bjerg has his ult, has flash.
Hey, listen, man.
It was.
Rainover showed us NA Rengar yesterday. We'll see what CN Rengar looks like today.
Well, it looks all right.
Never know.
1-1-1.
It's been okay so far.
Otherwise, okay.
Little bit of hit, little bit of miss.
There's a reason we don't play it in Europe. That's all I'm going to say. You don't ever want to see that happen.
We certainly didn't play it in OCE either. Right. Bit of a different story. But let's have a look towards the top side of the map. It's Clearlove looking for a gank on this time. Yeah, he's going to launch himself on top with Death Charge, but only gets one of the knockups. Flashes the bowler strike, and now the Riptide's there, but Mouse just punts him back. Clearlove looking for the damage. He's pretty tanky, but they kill him before the dredge line comes in.
Oh, bot side though, this is still a beneficial trade for the NALCS. They get first tower on the bottom side, despite being against the Caitlyn and the Karma. They push them all the way out of lane, and just capitalize.
And that really all stems from the overdive that the LPL did earlier, because they had total control of that lane up until that point. I do want to credit. Ooh, I do want to credit Mouse to flash in front of Impact right there, because you'd think it might be wasteful because you could slow him with Q anyways, but he's just making sure Impact couldn't escape with the dredge line.
Yeah, it was cute. Not able to grab this top out of
stop him. Ghosting in, so he wants to take this.
TP coming through as well. Impact's on his way. Clearlove.
Just the edge. That was stunning, exactly right. Now Impact looking to try and close off Mouse, and this is exactly what he did to him. Now the tables have turned as Mouse, the last Twin Fan, that's going to get the double kill for Bjergsen. Then the Crescendo in the mid lane as well. And Wayless evaporates, and LPL just going bust.
Yeah, NA way faster on the moves right there. They taken the duo lane turret, so the mid lane roams top and the bottom lane roams mid. They just shifted everyone up to that side of the map. They win all over. They had three kills and maybe 2 turrets.
And again, it stems from the LPL kind of over-pushing. Look at the top tower health. You can even see it on the minimap. They were trying to just shove everything back and make sure that they could get the lane in a position that when they eventually go to it, it's like one hit and the tower is gone. And that means they stayed too late. The roam came up, the TP came out, and it was an easy pickoff on the top side.
I just want to say, LPL does the early game really well. You just wait till we're good at the rest of the game as well. It's going to be huge. Unfortunately, it's just not quite working out. 3,000 gold now the lead for the NALCS, just with far more crisp movements. But is this a scaling conversation that we need to have now? I mean, Orianna, Caitlyn, you know, Maokai as well.
The late game conversation.
We're strapping in the late game, boys.
Yeah. The thing is, when you compare these team compositions, they're pretty close as far as overall scale. They got the super tanks in the top lane. Rengar maybe you would say would scale, but that's only if the game becomes chaotic. If you're thinking about straight up team fights, the 80 Rengar actually just kind of blows up. The Cassiopeia also is a better DPS character against the Maokai, but that's canceled out with Caitlyn being better DPS.
Good flash. Yeah, very cute little flash. Wayless trying to throw the ball around and does do so effectively. Grabs the shutdown.
It was a good, that was a very vintage double lift flash. He's like, I'm going to flash this shockwave. Look at my mechanics. What now? I have no response.
It's the battle of the two players that love being alone in a side lane in the wrong position as well. I mean, Wayless from the LPL, always known for that. Beautiful. We saw it yesterday. And double lift as well. I mean, in his past has been one to utilize the side lane farm.
Yeah, he's going for it. Still down in CS. It's the thought that counts.
It's coming up on Christmas, you know? I mean, thought that counts is very relevant at this stage.
Well, Clearlove, his thought right now is that he wants Impact, who does have his ultimate but no flash, but is fairly tanky at this point. So we'll see whether Mouse and Clearlove again can punish Impact. But
yeah. 80 Rengar thrives on killing squishies. I've been very surprised to see him visiting the tankiest player on the map repeatedly in this game. When Aphromoo was losing 75% of his health from like 2 Rengar spells earlier. Very surprised that he hasn't been going for more plays and just trying to kill the support.
This time though, I like the fact that they don't just go for it, because they see Uzi and Mata coming up to the top side, Impact backs away, and while they had set that tower up to be killed earlier, they finally get an objective from it as well. So second tower of the game for the LPL.
Important that they go up there to get the turret. Just overall commenting on the surprise of how much he's been up there.
Yep. Uzi now, you can see on your screen with a variety bucket of items, looking for that Hurricane as well as the Infinity Edge and buying as much of both of them at the same time as he possibly can. I certainly like that. On the other side of it is going to be double lift, finishing off his Essence Reaver as well as his Zeal for a heck of a lot more cooldown reduction at this point in time. Turn call could come through at any moment. Oh,
whoa!
Last Cone is going to deliver Aphromoo in the right spot. Double lift didn't quite manage to make it.
Oh man, you always want to punish Aphromoo. He plays so far forward and oftentimes does get burned for it, but not this time.
Oh dear, Clearlove taking so much damage. Good command protects. Bjergsen takes a lot from that dissonance. Uzi shoots one over, but Rainover's going to pick that one up. Hold up to find the kill or anything like that. Mouse still underneath this turret and he's going to be okay.
We're in one of these situations where both teams are like, okay, we're going to put 5 people up there, and it's probably going to be one of the ones where everyone just backs away. You don't want to just head-on engage into either of these teams, so we'll see whether NALCS can do anything with it, get some vision control on the top side, perhaps.
Yeah, you always have to look at who has the other ways pushing when they need his 5v5, because that team almost always transitions it into an advantage afterwards, since when they do move back down, Watch this. Ice actually has to push out some of these minion waves, and that means Fire can get some of the wards in the Drake area. The cost of this, though, is they didn't chop, whereas everyone on Ice did. So if Ice does actually get a clean 5v5 fight, they have an edge. It's just really hard to do without the vision control or the position.
Fire's going to utilize that time. Grab himself.
Oh, all the TPs are coming through. Hang on, Uzi's trapping already.
In a heck of a lot of trouble. Does throw down a trap as Clearlove looking to get himself in position. We get spotted out by Aframu. Impact right on the front line as Mata looks to be the one caught out and is going to die. Impact grabs that kill. Wayless with a fair bit of damage there as he throws his ball around, and Mouse is right in the back line of this fight. Good curtain call from Double It, but Uzi in a great position as well at the back of this fight. Impact has to flash his way out as Clearlove once again. It's a two-man shockwave there for Wayless as Aframu in so much trouble. Mouse grabs that kill, flashes out. It's a good stun on Clearlove though, and Rainover gonna grab that kill. Uzi somehow snagged by that dredge line. That was ridiculous as Wayless is just throwing the ball everywhere to keep his team alive.
And we got to see the extremes of that fight, with the tanks just eating damage from absolutely everyone, and how long it takes Cassiopeia Jhin to cut through a tank versus how long it takes Orianna Caitlyn to cut through a tank. And this time, Uzi actually did get a lot of damage out in the fight, and he's not even in his super strong point. He's in his mid-game dip.
It's a good TP position out of Uzi right into the back of this fight. They catch Mata, take him out before he can really have an impact, because the LPL squad are split up on two sides, and now they're up against the numbers advantage. The Mouse, he can tank a lot of damage for sure, but you see Impact doing the same, holding Wayless and Uzi back. The ultimate to stop more damage coming out of Orianna, and now the shockwave ended up coming through.
Yeah, and also watch Wayless in the extension of this fight, keeping the ball right in that choke point and kind of stopping anyone from Fire for following up on Impact's hook onto Uzi, so that completely pushes them back on this fight. Yes, they did lose the fight, but Wayless played it very well.
Yeah, this is what Wayless was known for as well. He was more of a DPS Orianna player, you know, known for being able to move his ball to the right positions in a team fight, knows exactly how to utilize the champion to get the most damage out in a really effective way that's not necessarily noticeable, because it's really subtle in the way that he utilizes all of the different abilities that Orianna has.
Yeah, and also while most people go Rylai's in their Orianna build after Morellonomicon, even last year before Rylai's was super popular, and still it looks like Wayless is going for Ludens. So
yeah,
you're faster, you're way squishier, but you also do a bunch more damage. His mid-game power spike is about as big as it gets when you go Sorcerer Shoes, Morellonomicon, Ludens. So he's absolutely going to be going for some one-shots on either Aframu or Double It with that build.
And if they end up somehow getting the Maokai with the ball through onto someone like Bjergsen, which rarely will happen with this team setup, that could be, you know, catastrophic for the NALCS team. If they just get shockwaved off the map from their carries, that's pretty much the end of that fight, because Uzi will end up cleaning it up. So despite looking like the LPL are fairly far behind on kills with having half of it, they still are in this game, certainly. But Wayless, he's in a lot of trouble in mid lane.
Potentially, as 3 bullets go in, make that 4 as Wayless even gets stunned at the end. Is going to survive as Aframu doesn't offer any extra damage.
Yeah, really no one else to come through.
Yeah.
Landed every single shot.
Hits the skill shots. Nailed it. That's fine.
All
Send the
4 of
message.
them.
What it did, however, is drag the LPL team into the mid lane, and now Bjergsen pushes through with Rainover on the top side, so kind of not sure whether it was the intended play when they end up catching Wayless in the middle lane. Looking
Let's go.
A good play.
There it is. Just accuses his way out. Okay, not this time. This time. A lot of messages.
He was a little far ahead of the rest of his team. Decided, nope, don't want this one. But at least he used it.
Exactly. Mata not going to get stunned by the Deadly Flourish, but does move around, at least get slowed by the Song of Celerity power chord.
And as we kind of sweep through the top side of the jungle, you can see the vision control as well for the NALCS. Very good. They got 2 sight stones as well, so on top of that, they're able to maintain a lot of vision. Rek'Sai, one of the few junglers that still can do that isn't Lee Sin when you look at how the meta plays out.
You see an incredibly low amount of sight stones, especially on the new season, mainly because most of the new season has been seen in solo queue, and no one builds that stuff in solo queue on the jungle. In pro play, even though, Rainover, one of the first to do that this whole tournament.
Yeah, exactly. It's normally that Titanic Hydra setup where you're looking for a little bit more damage. Oh, double shockwave.
Shockwave, yeah. Impact and Rainover, the tanky members do get knocked around as Mouse makes his way into a very good position. Wayless continues to get the damage down. Uzi there as well. But looks like NALCS don't want the fight and do move away successfully.
Yeah, a little bit of a weird fight there, because the 2 main damage dealers really on these teams is Uzi for the repeatable damage on Caitlyn and Cassiopeia for the repeatable damage with Bjergsen. Neither of them were there that fight, so no one could kill the pit.
And once again, the curtain call comes in. Wayless just happy to tank him all up as Impact gets his face into the fight. Takes a lot of damage, gets himself out with the flash.
Yeah, wasted his dredge line, so he couldn't jump out on that. Had to burn the flash, unfortunately.
And Wayless is having so much thrown at him time and time again. Luckily, he was able to flash, as you were talking about before that grounded came through, but they can never really close the distance for any kind of Cassiopeia ults unless the LPL team are diving right in. So that's one area that Bjergsen himself has to be fairly careful about, is if he pushes himself forward in a fight, Mouse is going to come straight through and try and pick him up.
Well, now ClearLove just going to clear out his jungle towards the top side. Pretty empty as far as the bottom side of it is concerned. And Uzi back into the mid lane to try and shove this one through. Still a few turrets left available here for Team Ice. Try and take down 3-2. In fact, that scoreline. So still looking for that mid lane outer turret. Not going to get it this time, though, with a lot of defense available from Double Lift and Afroman.
Absolutely, and even though it is the 3,000 gold lead for NA, watch for Uzi. When he's able to get his second Zeal item in, the fact that he will have double shield as well as really the sweet spot for the Caitlyn power spike. It might have to wait until Last Whisper because of the massive tank line on fire, but if he's able to do that, like that's where LPL can kind of neutralize that gold lead, because that requires Fire to have really good like backline access, and they have a very good tank line, but they have almost no dive that can actually threaten a double shield Caitlyn. So it's actually looking decent for the LPL as long as they don't lose before Uzi gets to those items.
Yeah, and look, I get it. I get scared of these questions about items especially. But that's a warrior enchantment picked up for Rainover on the Rek'Sai, which it is interesting, right?
Yeah. It's what he used to do when he was carrying all those Rek'Sai games back in Fnatic when they had that undefeated split. So it's a very Rainover thing to do. I don't necessarily think it's bad, it's just uncommon.
Oh, Impact doing Impact things though. Massive teleport into the back line.
Whoa!
Massive crescendo. Rainover grabs the first kill and it's on to Wayless as Uzi completely off on his own. Mouse tanking up the curtain call. Uzi grabs the last bullet there as now Mouse. Oh god. They just cut the tree down. It is going to be the double picked up for exactly the man we were talking about just before.
Take one for the team. Mouse just allows Uzi to escape right there, but that's the type of big fight that NA really wanted. They comboed all their CC just right.
And now they're going for Baron. ClearLove's the other side of the map, almost out of health as well. No flash to look for any kind of trade. He's been spotted out on a wood. They know that there is no way of stopping the NALCS squad from doing this, so they're just going to take themselves an Ocean Break, and that is never going to be a worthwhile trade.
The classic constellation Ocean Break. Not bad.
Well, we were talking about, you know, Impact doing Impact things, gets right into that fight. Gets the knock up off the dredge line on multiple people, and Afroman just hits, you know, the perfect crescendo for the moment.
I feel like because Uzi was in the jungle, Ice walked towards the teleport. They had a path to run through the river and kind of delay the fight, but they chose not to take that. Instead, they kind of ran straight into the Nautilus, who knocked up everyone, allowed the CC chain to happen, and then Mouse was really just taking hits so the rest of them could run away.
Just seems all about these choke points.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic crescendo there from Afromu.
Yeah, I do have a minor point about the Ocean Drake. I still think it was the right call for NA to take the Baron, but Sona with Ocean Drake is almost kind of like Jhin with Infernal Drake, where it's just so much better on that champion than it is on anyone else. Sona, especially with the incredible cooldown reduction she can get us up to like 60 or 70% later in the game when you rank up Crescendo, is pretty much only gated by mana. Otherwise, she can just heal everyone to full. So if you're able to get one or two Ocean Drakes, it almost just is multiplicative in its effectiveness when compared to other champions.
It's okay, Jad, don't worry. Next Drake, it's Ocean. They can get it for Sona. No need to panic. We'll get one.
But double Ocean is even better.
Just never please, Jad.
High expectations.
Exactly right. It's good. Keeping us honest. Man, Dissonance does a heck of a lot of damage. That's the Luden's Echo for you, gentlemen.
Yeah, likely going to get something like a Void Staff next for looking for extra penetration. Maybe the Abyssal, but he's in short range. Mouse goes in.
Yeah, just straight in there. Doesn't waste any time. Gets Dredgeline back as well as Uzi's going to get knocked up. Redemption is in to try and heal up the members of the LPL as Curtain Call goes down, but this turret should follow as well. Massive damage on Afromu, but Impact is able to tank that one up. It is going to be Double Lift taking down the Orianna. As now NA just tearing them up. ClearLove's dead. Mouse is dead as well. Uzi, I think he was there for a second, but he just goes down, and Marta's going to spell the triple kill for Double Lift.
That's the game.
That's a clean ace with the Baron buff, totally decimating the LPL in that last fight, and they're going to win pre-30 minutes.
Just unbelievable play from the NALCS. First Nexus turret down, second as well, and this puts Fire 100 points in the lead at the end of the day and gives Doublelift the revenge that he needed against Mata and Uzi.
I'm sure he would gladly trade this all-star single-game victory for the Worlds game, but it feels a little bit nice, I'm sure, to have a victory over Uzi and Mata, although the last lap still goes over to the LPL. Good game all around, able to close it out. Must feel pretty good.
You can see how much it meant to Doublelift and Aframu there. I mean, we've heard throughout so many worlds how much Uzi, Doublelift, that relationship and everything that goes with it means. And, you know, we look at how this game played out, and after yesterday's performance against LMS, where we criticized the NALCS for not playing as a team, this game was a lot better on the team play. They reacted very well to the movements on the map out of the LPL All-Stars and punished them heavily on 2 or 3 big plays.
Yeah, I was so happy to see Rain over on Rek'Sai. You could just see the comfort level goes up tenfold when he's on a champion he's played so much of. And also, credit to these guys, it's about the competition and the fun. Both playing their final regional clash as far as these 5v5 of the year pretty much, because this is the All-Star.
And huge smiles on everyone's face as well. That's the fantastic part. Uzi there grinning ear to ear after what was a phenomenal early game. Just wasn't quite able to be enough towards the end.
Yeah, he was off taking red buff actually when that siege started, so was never really able to come together for the LPL. But he does know, he's like, I was up a bunch of CS early in the lane, so everyone's a winner.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I did a good early game. I mean, I'm an 80 carry mid-game, not exactly where I'm supposed to thrive. That's on you guys. So Uzi's probably still feeling pretty good. It's like, we barely made it out of the mid-game.
Yeah, he's like, wait, surely we had another 20 minutes on this game. We had the Orianna, we had the Caitlyn, but all good fun.
Potentially also the last game, Uzi and Mata could dual lane together.
Yeah,
played that
precisely.
whole year together, or whole split together on RNG as well as the Worlds run.
And Bjergsen and Doublelift as well. I mean, they're not paired together, but still, it's all
Feeling
it's
a
all
joke.
the
The
end
second
of,
rush hour wasn't necessarily as good or as memorable as the first one, but it's still nice to watch.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. And they played that one out very, very well. Of course, as far as their synergy is concerned, looks like it's still great. So no worries.
Yeah, the Sona eventually came in. Aframu always finding a way to pull it out. He wasn't the first one to do it this time. I hope they replay that final fight at the analyst desk afterwards, because it was just really cleanly played by the NA team for most of it. That's how you get a clean 5-for-0 ace at the enemy base.
And there were a couple of clutch moments. You're talking about Sona in that last fight. Bjergsen, I don't know whether Clearlove was revealed or whether he was still in stealth. Bjergsen ults him point blank as he's about to jump in, takes him out. I mean, the fight was already done at that point, but I'd love to see it again, just to see, because we only got to see it that one time.
Yeah, it was a little bit unfortunate. One thing that was also unfortunate, I love watching Wayless's Orianna, but I feel like we didn't quite get enough of it.
Yeah.
This game was just picked off over and over again there in that mid lane.
Yeah, well, we were mentioning just the fact that NA didn't necessarily have great backline access, that if the late game Orianna and Caitlyn would have been able to come through, it could have been tricky, but they knew when to pull the trigger and how to pull the trigger, and they were able to close out the game when they had to.
Yeah, really, really solid as well. I was kind of expecting a little more out of Clearlove and Wayless with that combination. We never really saw that get off, because the one time maybe they would have looked for it, Wayless had already been killed mid, so I would have liked to seen a bit more of that.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate, but let's send it down to Dash, who's standing by with a man who just got his revenge.
Thank you very much. That's right. I'm here with Doublelift, the victorious 80 carry for Team Fire here. And at the beginning of the day, we had a video shot of you talking about how you were looking forward to this rematch between Uzi and Mata from Worlds. Obviously, it went very well for you, but how did it feel to come away with a victory this time around?
Well, Uzi and Mata are the best 2v2 laning duo I've ever played against. Like, that is the most pressure I've ever felt in the middle, in like just the first 10 minutes of the game. And it just reminds me of Worlds, you know, when like I would be really confident coming into the matchup, and then they would just completely smash me, and then I would play the other side of the matchup, and they'd smash me in that side too. I'm just like, what's going on? Like, they're just so good. So like the fact that I was only down 10 CS or 12 CS during laning phase, I was like, oh my god, like we made it, you know, like that's like for me that's a win. But back in America, or back in NA, I mean, like I'm smashing everyone in laning phase all the time, and then over here I have to switch it around and just like learn how to lose gracefully. It's like a really different experience, yeah.
Well, you're at All-Stars. You're up against the best here, but you performed today. Now, if we look ahead to tomorrow, the first match of the day is that tandem mode. You're paired up with Aframu. Has there been any practice going into this tomorrow? Who's playing mouse? Who's playing keyboard? And any ideas on what champions might be the most successful when played with two people?
You know, me and Afro have just been playing for like the regional matches or whatever, so we haven't practiced at all for tandem. I'm I think I'm going to whip out Vayne or Ezreal or something like that, some hype champion. And hopefully, I mean, of course, I'm going to play Mouse because I know how to last hit and he doesn't. But hopefully we can do well even if I'm playing like a hard champion.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Mechanically demanding champions with 2 players will make for a lot of hilarity, I'm sure. Following that is the 1v1 tournament. Now, unfortunately, you're not in it, but there are 3 Fire players remaining. My question to you, though, is with Mata running amok in the 1v1s, his Yasuo up against FLICKR and Prey, do you think Impact, Levi, or Smeb can actually take him down?
All right, I got some faith in Impact. He's my NA All-Star brethren. He's playing really well. And I also have a lot of faith in Smeb. He's one of the best 1v1 players in the world, so... I mean, that's not any toss to Levi or anything. He's like the best. I think he's the best GPL player, but I guess he has a chance too.
All right, well, we'll be rooting for them, of course, from the Fire side. And my final question to you is with that, kind of remade teams for the All-Stars tomorrow, you're going to get reunited with Mad Life here in the final game for you of All-Stars. What does that mean to you to be reunited with, one of your first loves of supports back in the old All-Star days?
Oh, yeah, dude. My favorite memory of Mad Life is... he's one of the people I looked up to, and I played with him in the 2014 All-Stars, and the first game we played together, he turned to me after the game and said, "Wow, you so good." So, playing with him again, it's going to be, I have a lot to prove, and it's going to be fun.
I was about to say, it's a high bar. Now you got to do better than just so good. Final question, though. Fire's now 100 points ahead of Ice here. Are you confident that you guys are going to bring it home for a second year in a row for Team Fire?
Hell yeah, dude. Double life bot lane, let's do it.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Double Lift and the rest of Team Fire out to a lead here at the end of day 3. Back up to the desk to close out the day.
Thank you so much, Dash. Fantastic jacket also. And always fun to hear from Double F. I especially liked his answer on that first question about, of course, going up against Uzi and Mata again. And he said it's just so hard to play versus them. So he got a little bit of revenge, Azale. That must be good to hear. He wasn't, super cocky. He just said, hey, that's the way it is. I got smashed by them. And then he said, but in NA, I smashed everyone else. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a mix, right? So there's the humble and then there's the cocky.
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah.
get both in. But just being honest, I do think that would be a matchup where you would normally lose a little bit early against the Caitlyn Karma. And they held up pretty admirably, but they did need a hand from LPL to really kind of get things going.
The Fisher loves LPL bot lane action.
I do love a lot of the LPL stuff. There's one thing I really hate, and let's just, talk about it, because that's when LPL has the advantage, and then they find this way, and I don't know how they find it. They must practice it almost. They find a way to just throw everything away. And it really annoys me when it actually happens.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at that. And when the American Dream began, a bot lane dive on South or LPL, brought to you by Acer.
First of all, LPL's mid laner is dead. So why are you trying to dive the bot lane tower and actually chase past the tower?
Because the zone has no flash to fish you, of
Yeah.
course.
I mean, now you're going to have everyone down, because even Mouse joined the team just to,
The thing is, they didn't even want to back out. The Maokai was going in, They were like, we can still fight, guys, we can fight.
Well, actually, it triggered a bit when you guys played LCK this morning, and you guys had a really good start, and then you had a similar kind of overextension in the top lane. Why is that?
Ours was a bit different, because I felt we just were not on the same page, because I felt like if we were for the Galio and the TP, we could have insta-kill the TP or make him stop it, which was a bit better thought at this. At least we were 5 against 5.
Yeah.
But this was just like, Rengar has ults. He's like, I have ult. Let's kill them, And he just press it, goes in, doesn't check the minimap. I don't know if they knew Bjergsen was coming as well, but yeah, they were just diving for no reason.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Okay, if my mid laner is dead and their mid lane has gone missing and we're diving between 2 towers, he's probably going bot lane. Like, going top lane, pushing tower wouldn't make a whole lot of sense from Bjergsen. And there wasn't even a communication issue. They could all communicate easy. So I don't know what the reason was, but I don't know. It happens all the time for LPL.
Yeah, it's a bit over-aggressive. Even if they had killed off Double Lift and Afromu really quickly, they still probably would have died when Bjergsen got there. So it was definitely optimistic dive.
Optimistic dive, and then NALCS, they ran with the lead. They had another team fights, a couple of team fights that did really well, and eventually also ended up getting Baron. So we're going to take a look at some of those moves.
Yeah, and this to me was so much on the TP from Impact. He did such a good job. He comes in behind, no hesitation, and they're able to just get so much damage out. Both the damage dealers from NA were pretty much untouched, and Uzi, I think he did, what, 30 damage in this fight it was? In the
31.
Recap? There you go.
Like, have you ever dealt 31 damage in a team fight?
That's actually a record. Never got that. But I also think Rengar was a bit useless in this game, going full AD. I was watching this replay when I was thinking about the one before, where he did exactly the same. He got low, ran away, then ran in to die again. You know, like he did. I think he did almost nothing in all these team fights going full AD.
Well, let's talk a bit about the report card for Rengar, maybe because we saw Reignover playing it twice. The first one was he full tank, then the second one he was kind of half tank, half AD. Here it was more AD, and it is a very strong pick in solo queue, but it hasn't really been able to completely swing a matchup here at All-Star.
Well, we did see one matchup. I can't remember if
And it was Europe. It was really good.
Yeah.
we did see that work, but we did see a full damage Rengar do very well as well in another game.
Karsa,
I think it was Karsa.
Yeah.
And to me, full damage Rengar can work really well, but you have to snowball, right? It's one of those picks. It's like if you're going Assassin Lee Sin, full damage Lee Sin, you have to get stuff done or you will fall off. And that is kind of the risk, right? It's risk reward here. They went in for the dive. He was ahead early, had first blood. He felt like he could go for that kind of assassin build, and it didn't really pay off.
I actually think Rengar is slightly overpowered in competitive play. I think Reignover showed it really well in that first game we had against you guys, where by building like tank, he still has enough damage to jump in and like threaten to kill like the backline, at least for the first like 25-30 minutes. And because he used the W for, like to just get out of fights, you know, disable all CC, he's really hard to deal with, and he can engage these many ways. And if they had coordinated with the Orianna ball, they could have actually pulled off some very sick plays here, but they didn't.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to say that they also had Orianna. They would have had a perfect front line with Maokai Rengar, could go in whenever they wanted, and Cassiopeia and Jhin wouldn't be able to hit ever in a fight because Jhin would do nothing to the tanks, and this way he had free damage to everyone he could hit.
I do think that's one place where we have to give a lot of credit to Impact, though, because I think he did a great job zoning out Orianna in those fights, understanding that he had to protect his carries from it. Instead of just hitting frontline on frontline, Impact was kind of putting himself at risk, running past the tanks, zoning out the Orianna so that the ball would have to kind of come back to her.
Yeah, let's take a look at the final fight that Jat was talking about and wanting us to break down as well. It was very clean from the side of NA. He did force us. No, we totally
Look at the Rengar, look at the Rengar.
Yeah, here's Rengar coming
Look at
in.
Evelyn, look at
Oh, he's dead. To be fair, Orianna was already dead at this point as well, so there couldn't even be any sick combos. Overall, I think North America shows in a game like this, they play really well in these team fights. Very, very good understanding of like who's actually coming in. You talked about Impact being in the front line, Bjergsen here with the Cassiopeia in the back as well. Good ultis from Aframo doing this game. So I think North America just outplayed LPL. After that bot lane dive happened, they were just in full control, honestly.
Yep, they ran with it, and it also translates into the standings. Let's take a look at where we are at the end of day 3 here at All-Star and all the mayhem we've seen. Fire is 100 points ahead of Team Ice at this point, so I want to say that Ice dropped the ball a little bit because we said at the beginning of the day, if they win every single game, they could already clinch it today. Of course, we didn't expect that, but some games I think could have gone otherwise.
They certainly could have gone either way, but I mean, it's been ridiculously close, and 100 points is not a big lead going into the final day. We still have a lot of matches to play. 450, 500 points up for grabs in the one-on-ones. We have, what, 3 or 4 more Summoner's Rift games?
3 more, yeah.
So there's a lot of points for grabs.
Yeah, let's take a look at the schedule for tomorrow. Tandem mode will be up first, and the 1v1 tournament, 3 best of 3s there with that final. And then we have 3 best of 3s with mixed teams from Ice and Fire, 100 point each as well.
Yeah, that's the key one, like 100 points each. Obviously, like a lot of cool combinations are being made, and if everyone is trying their hardest, I think all the combos are actually pretty good. But that's where I can see like one combo be like super, super strong, and then the next game, like Team Fire might not have the strongest combo, and like Team Ice can take a game, and hopefully we get all the way to a third game where you're playing for the last like 100 points to decide all, and then we sub in FLICKR, carries the game, and Team Ice wins. Because you're playing the last one.
I'm the last game?
Yeah, there we go.
It's scripted.
So you're going to play Kassadin, right?
I think you are. I might be.
Kassadin
No, I don't
TP
remember,
in?
actually. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be super close, but especially what's going to matter the most is going to be the 1v1s.
Yeah.
It's going to be too many points, and if 2 guys from the same team make it to the final, it's going to be pretty much that team winning it.
Well, you guys have on Ice, you have
Yeah, I mean,
you have
I'm
Mata,
making it to the
you have
final.
Heroes,
I'm in the other bracket. We have Mata as well.
Yeah,
who can
Mata,
make it.
Uzi is in there as well. Karsa is also
Yep.
still in there, so I think you guys have a pretty good shot at that, but I could be biased, but whatever. But thank you very much for joining us, FLICKR.
Just
Good
maybe.
luck tomorrow, just a little bit. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow on stage. But for us, it is time to log off here at Palau San Jordi. For myself and everyone else on the team, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you mañana.
We talk about win rates, we talk about history. What I will say, though, is the crowd is electric here. We have a full house today.
All right, screw everything about serious pick and bang fans here. Europe is
Hey, he's looking for a counter pick.
Garrett spinning to win. The Ice March comes out. Mickey's backing up as well.
Oh, baby!
It's the double!
Yeah! Cam.
Look at him legs.
The next use. There's a second. This Noah's wants it, not gonna get it. Yankos goes through though. He's gonna get it, but they both die. Oh, it was an execute. But Yankos makes it out of the turret to safety. Oh, Bengi. Into Bengi's waiting arms out. Oh, huge outplay again.
Oh, he got stuns him. That's it. It's over. FLICKR low on mana, but just one more auto should be enough. Oh, the E! He got him. Clearlove. Oh, no! He walked back in. Oh!
The point and click into death on
You wanna? Oh, here we go. Hang on. Karsa's winning early. Elvis is dying. Karsa wins.
You're so handsome on your picture. See picture? Handsome.
Put off the mini wave. He can't actually go for much, and the chain is there. Oh, the turret shot! Argentino Blanc versus 80 carries, man.
Now we've got a problem with Yankos. What the damage?
Big off the skill, buddy.
Go for it, goes in.
Oh, he steals it! The god himself!
If he hits the Q, Frey's probably dead. Oh, that's a bad dagger. Oh, this is really gonna be close. The crowd loves it, and Mata is pumped up.
Can they clean this fight up? As everyone's getting back underneath the turret, Miasma goes over to the top, and Uzi says, where did my friends go? Impact is able to tank that one up. It is going to be double and taking down the Oriana. As now NA just tearing them up.
Credit to these guys. It's about the competition and the fun. Both playing their final regional clash as far as these 5v5 of the year, pretty much.
How do you follow that up? You got something? I got nothing.